Jalen Hurts will end top 3 in MVP.
I'm going to go take a shit in the urinal on that one. I think...
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome back to the Warner Brothas Podcast. I'm Kyle, joined today once again by Keenan, Brandon, and Tim. It's like the NFL squad now officially, I think, with some rotations, but this seems like a solid NFL squad. How we doing, fellas?
Ready to talk about these divisions. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
Some of the most fun divisions out of all of them, honestly. At least they had a lot of headlines in all of them.
For sure. By the time y'all watch this, I'm hoping y'all will have watched the AFC and NFC West predictions that we gave y'all. If you watch those two, you will know that we're playing the drinking game, shot, sip, or piss. Funny name. Today we'll be doing the NFC East and the AFC East, starting obviously with the NFC East. We're going to NFC, AFC when we do these. Maybe next week when we do the North and South, we'll do AFC first. Who knows? But for right now, NFC. And we're going to start with Tim. Tim, I'm going to pass it to you.
Of course, I've been giving the fun team of the NFC East here with the Dallas Cowboys. My statement, I don't know how much I believe it, but it's definitely a statement here. Ready? Dak Prescott will be top 5 in MVP voting. He will win Comeback Player of the Year.
Ooh.
And the Cowboys will win the division this year.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly go. So he'll be top 5 in MVP voting. You can just find me outside. I don't even want to be in the building to go to the bathroom. I'll go to the urinal outside. So I'll go to the urinal outside for top 5 in MVP.
The alley outside.
I don't want alley wherever. I just don't want to be in the building with that even being like in
Keenan's
the vicinity.
pissing on some homeless dude outside.
Yes.
See ya.
So
Jesus, we got R. Kelly here.
Oh boy. Okay. Yep. We are not. We know who you are, Kelly. In the Eminem voice. Comeback Player of the Year. I am going to just grab me the 5th. We're going to take every shot of that. They're going to take every shot of that. I think that that just feels like his award to lose, to be quite honest with you. Unless there's someone that I am forgetting that also could be a comeback player, I feel like it's his award to lose. I don't know if I'm forgetting somebody.
Maybe CMC would count.
Maybe CMC. Okay, okay, CMC, you're right. So I'm taking a shot.
He's taking one shot. Okay.
No, I'm just taking a shot. Then I completely forgot that CMC would be
Sip.
technically the comeback player. So
Change that to a sip.
no shot.
So you're all in on it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'm just not taking the 5th. Like I'm not just taking the whole bottle and running home with it. Like it's already a foregone conclusion. I'm just saying, hey bartender, could I have a shot of it? Because obviously, yeah, I can have a shot of that, please. And then the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East again. So I went to the urinal to go to the bathroom for that. I need to actually go in the Uber and go home because I have a number 2 emergency and I got to go home for that. So they're not. So that's how I feel about that. So
my pre-pod.
Pre-pod. So to reiterate, Dak Prescott, I'm going out to the urinal for his MVP voting. I will take a shot for his comeback player of the year, and I got to go all the way home to get to the bathroom because I'm not I can't do it with the NFC East champs.
Petty, you got it.
I'm going to take a sip to the whole thing. I'm actually going to take a shot with Dak being top 5 in MVP voting. The running game, I think the running game is going to be non-existent. I think he's going to have to throw the ball 40, 45 times a game. I could see him being top 5 in passing yards and top 5 in passing touchdowns, like CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. Like I could definitely see that. Comeback player of the year, I'll take a shot to that as well too. I think if he does that, then I think it's a landslide. Them winning the division, I'm getting in the Uber with Keenan, and we're going to like another bar or something. But yeah, I'm not. We're relocating.
Hear that? Hear that? Listen, for comeback player of the year, I'll take a sip. He played 8 games last year, so it's really hard to figure out like what the criteria is for the NFL. So he played half a season. CMC, I'm assuming, played less. It feels like he plays less anyway. So I would give CMC the driver's seat for that. So I'll take a sip of that. MVP voting, taking a piss. I'm getting the fuck out of the bar. At least going to the bathroom. I won't say I'm going outside, but as someone who was repulsed 2 years ago as Dak, like even being in contention for the MVP, even in a weak year, I can't picture it. Especially when you consider Allen and Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, you can almost book them to be top 3 just themselves, right? Then you got Burrow, who's going to put up crazy stats. If Mahomes, Herbert, Jalen Hurts, any one of them, they have good seasons, they're going to get votes. So Dak Prescott would have to have like his career year coming off an injury. And he's already had, this is his second season-ending injury he's had. So
could he finish top 2 in his own divisions? Like, that's more of a question for me. Because like Daniels and Hurts, like clearly could. I mean, honestly, top 3 if you want to say Saquon, like him, like so like that, like truly, could he finish top 3 in his own division, let alone in that? So yeah,
sure. And as far as the division goes, I will take a sip. I'm gonna react like the drink sour though. I don't necessarily see it. That's more based off of, I think everyone in the NFC. Yeah, right. I think everyone in the NFC East, each team, I think they have pretty tough schedules. I think the Eagles are built for it. I think they're built to win anywhere because of their run game, because of their offensive line, because of their defense. But that being said, I believe the Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, all the teams, Giants, every one of those teams has a tough schedule. So I could see a world where, let's say, Saquon gets injured, maybe the Cowboys steal a game. Like, there's a world. There's a world. I wouldn't bet on it, but there's a world. So I'm taking a small sip of the Cowboys winning the division.
Okay.
How you feel, Tim?
I actually do believe comeback player of the year is on the table. I do believe the top 5 in MVP voting is on the table. He's been there before. And this is, in my opinion, the strongest passing attack that they're going to have this year with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. I think that's going to work flawlessly. I really do. And like Brandon said, this run game is just not going to be there. They're going to need to lean on this passing game every single game. And when they're playing juggernauts like that, that can turn into stat padding at the end of the games. But when it comes to the end of the season, people don't remember that early on. So I think statistically he's going to be up there in a lot of categories. The NFC East, very seldom do we get a repeat division winner. I think it goes all the way back to like 2007 or something like that when the Eagles did it.
Long time.
Did the Cowboys do it?
No.
With Dak?
No, it hasn't been
I
that.
don't know, because they went 3 straight 12-5 seasons, but they probably had someone in between.
The Eagles had like a 13-4 in there.
Yeah, okay. That's been. I think I was just thinking 3 straight 12-5s. I mean, they must have gone back to back at some point, but I think in between those, the Eagles had.
Yeah, it was the Eagles' Super Bowl run.
Oh, Super Bowl year. Yes.
So,
yes.
I could see it either being the Cowboys or the Commanders that win it, but when we talk about the Commanders, I'll kind of fill you in on why I don't think it's the Commanders, but still, I think this team is going to be pretty good. Let me pull up the record. I completely forgot to get that. So for me, I think they're going to be 10-7. I think they're going to be a very competitive team. Like Kyle said, it's a very juggernaut schedule here. They play a lot of very good teams, and Dak might not live up to the pressure in those games, but they'll still win a good amount of games this year.
I kind of look at the Cowboys a lot like I do the Miami Dolphins as far as like when everyone's healthy. I take them to be almost every other team that's like at their level or below their level. But if they're playing like the Chiefs, or like in Pittsburgh, or, anybody that's like a tough game for them, or, the Niners, I'm usually going to take the other team. Like when the shit gets tough, I'm not going to take the Cowboys. I'm not going to take the Dolphins. So it's hard to assess. Otherwise, like if they had an easier schedule, like, yeah, I'd probably have them very much competing for this division. I actually have them at 9-8. I have this being a very just like, I think the three of the Eagles, Commanders, and Cowboys are going to beat up on each other, essentially. Along with, again, the schedules being tough, I think, all their schedules combined are going to beat up on each other. They just got such tough schedules. So 9-8 with the potential to be 11-6 at the most.
All right. Brandon, you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 9-8 with Kyle as well too. I think that's just kind of like a safe pick. I could see them being 10-7 or 11-6. Like I think they have the offensive firepower to do it. But with that division and how tough we're assuming it's gonna be, I see a lot of like splits, like maybe 1-1, maybe they go 0-2 versus Philly, Washington, whoever. I feel like 9-8's a pretty comfortable spot though.
And we all agree. I have him at 9-8. I know Timmy had him 10-7, but essentially he had him at 9-8. So I think, as Kyle kind of articulated well, they're good enough to beat all mid teams and down, and they're not really good enough to beat any team above them. They can compete. I'm not saying that they can't like actually compete, but like they're not picking them to beat Buffalo or Baltimore or those teams. But like against a Cincy, who has obviously a shaky defense, that could be a fun 38-35 game. Either way could go. And then there's a lot of teams in the NFC that they can compete with. So 9-8. Timmy, do you have them in the playoffs with your 10-7?
I do. They just squeak in as the 7th seed.
Okay. They squeak in. So Cowboys are on the outside looking in for me. They're one of the teams that like late in the season, I think we're going to be talking about is like, if they can just run the table the last 4 weeks, maybe they can get in and maybe they lose a big one and everyone blows up because it's the Cowboys. But yeah, that kind of thing for me. And I think they just barely miss out.
Last thing I want to say about the Cowboys, I haven't done my playoffs in full yet, so I don't even know who's in, who's out. But new head coach, new DC. And of course, like if Dak ends up playing, like the Cowboys finished strong last year. We just mentioned how he missed 8 games or 9 games. Who knows what we think of this team if Dak Prescott finishes out last year? And who knows what this team is going to look like with a new DC? I think is it Eberflus? Is Eberflus the DC? Is that another team? So some team got Eberflus as their DC.
It's a good question.
And then Brian,
obviously a new coach.
Yeah, it's Brian Schottenheimer, right? Who like had
Brian
unbelievably shitty resume for OC and whatever position he was at. But
Matt Eberflus, Kyle, you're correct.
Yeah. Okay. One of the most intriguing teams for me in the entire NFL, because they really could just like knock off 12 wins. Like, what if Schottenheimer's like just not bad at coaching, like kind of just keeps the wheel at 10-2 kind of thing? Like they could be all right. There's still a lot of talent on that defense. The secondary is a little suspect. Still got talent, but not deep. So I can't wait to watch the Cowboys.
What if they go 4-13 because they Cowboy?
Yeah, right.
I'll literally on the board. Like it. Like I don't see it, but like they just can't get a rhythm. They just turmoil. They get in these close games and lose, and then they get in the Arch Manning sweepstakes.
I think they're still too talented to do that.
I think they'd be probably worse. I think they'd probably worse at 6-11, 7-10. Like realistically. Personally, going into like me going through the records, I was like, I kind of want the Cowboys to have the worst pick in the league. Like, I want them to have the number 1 pick because I think Arch going to Dallas would be one of the all-time stories. I think that would be insane.
That would
going from Texas to Dallas, a Manning in a Cowboys uniform.
Like I said last week, if that happens, it'll be worse than LeBron to the Lakers as far as ESPN coverage. Like Cowboys already are the A to the Lakers B. It would be
Arch Manning will be in conversations. Will he be the best Cowboy quarterback to ever play? He'll be like Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman.
Is Arch already a Hall of Famer?
How many Super Bowls?
Let him debut with the Cowboys with like a 3-touchdown, no pick performance, 300 yards, and be like,
he's better than the greatest quarterback all time
already. Season's over.
Is he the best Manning quarterback already?
Did he firmly surpass Eli as the second best Manning of all time? Is what you get.
Jesus Christ.
We're not far off.
Yeah,
right.
Is this the greatest first game we have ever seen from any player across any sport? We've never seen a greater one solo game. Sorry. But Kyle, you're good to go on.
No worries. So I got the Commanders. This is a player-based question, statement even. So we know we have Lamar, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. That's firmly our top four. Will Jaden Daniels, by the end of the season, regular season or otherwise, will we solidify him as the fifth in that order? Will he be number 5 going into that top 4?
I have an answer. If you guys want to go, you can, but I have my answer.
Go ahead, Keaton.
I got a light sip. We're one of those taste test sips where you're like, okay. Excuse me.
I'm kind of scared of what Brandon's sip was right there. If you're an audio listener, you're welcome. If you're watching this on YouTube, I apologize for my good friend Brandon Petty, whoever that was.
But I'm
might have to put Brandon in the timeout box. You're gonna have to substitute for Duke right there. I don't know what that was. You never seen any grown ass man drink like that. I can tell you.
Yeah, no, never seen it. Never seen it. Never lost. But I'm taking a light sip of it because we'll go through my quarterback rankings and tiers, foreshadow to that here in about week and a half-ish, roughly whenever we get to that before the season starts, but we'll see where he ranks there. I think that it's possible. I just think that there's another quarterback in his division that's going to be in that realm. There's also a couple other people where, what if Justin Herbert managed to get to the playoffs and gets to an AFC championship game? He's a guy who talent-wise, he's there. He just hasn't done it. We can get up there. So there's other people. What if Jordan Love goes on a deep playoff run? CJ Stroud does something crazy. Like, there's a lot of guys that are able to elevate into that level. So I'm going to sip it because I do think there's guys right there next to him that could also do what he does. But realistically, what if he gets back to the NFC Championship game again and looks really good, which is though it may not be fully likely depending on how you feel about him, it is on the board.
I think I would also take a sip of that. I think top 5, it is very hard to be top 5. Like you mentioned Burrow. I know a lot of people that wouldn't put Burrow top 5 just because they don't win the games that they should necessarily win, even if it's not on Burrow. I know a lot of analysts will rank him just outside of 5. So this year, sophomore season, in my opinion, right now, the team offensively hasn't necessarily gotten better than it was last year. If anything, it's just gotten older this year. So I don't know if that's going to lead to the same season that they had last year statistically. So I think a lot of people are going to be really hesitant to put him top 5. So top 10, I would have said without a doubt, I would have drank the whole bottle. Top 7, probably would have still taken a few shots of that, but I think top 5 is just a little bit too rich for a sophomore QB running. But he's still going to be great without a doubt.
But at the same time, we have seen sophomore QBs instantly get there too, which is like, but they do typically have that kind of rookie year. Like Mahomes, sophomore, 50 touchdowns, Lamar, sophomore, MVP. We've seen them instantly jump up there, but
it's kind of like
they didn't have that rookie year.
It's kind of like CJ Stroud for me. Like if you had posed this question last year with CJ Stroud being a top 10 QB, I think a lot of people would have been taking shots of that. Right now, I think you can still make that argument he's top 10, but a lot of people would not have him top 10. They'd have him just outside. So I think that's going to be very similar to Jaden Daniels this year with top 5.
And we'll see in the quarterback ranking when I do it, and then we'll have more conversation about it. That they were honestly 5 to like 13. It's like very interesting. A lot of people, depending on how you feel about things, bless you, have different things.
Thank you.
But Brandon, you're good to go.
So I'm gonna be getting on the bar and just give me the whole bottle. Crown, I don't care what it is, Tito's, whatever.
Brandon's busting it down out here on the bar. Damn.
not doing that. Just a casual bottle chug.
He's going to Coyote Ugly.
Coyote Ugly. No, I think he'll take another step. Like,
do you say Coyote Ugly?
Jaden Daniels. Yeah, he even said Coyote Ugly.
Would not have bet that would have came up during this podcast or any podcast.
But it's the first thing I thought of when I thought of drinking on the standing on the bar. Was Coyote Ugly.
Oh my god. Jesus. But yeah, I think we'll take another step forward. I mean, this was my guy coming out of the draft last year. I thought he was better than Caleb Williams. Like, I thought he should have been the number 1 overall pick. Just being an SEC football watcher and a diehard college fan, like, he's got all the traits you want. He's got all the arm talent in the world. Obviously, the mobility, the accuracy, like vision, decision making, all that stuff. I actually like the offense better than what I did last year. Like, Laramie Tunzel is going to offer pretty good protection for him. Still one of the best left tackles in the game. I like Deebo Samuel. I think Cliff Kingsbury could probably get some more out of him. I don't think you're getting prime Deebo anymore. I think he'll be a good number 2 piece. And then I do like Chris Rodriguez, Austin Eckler, Bill, Corey Krosky Merritt, or whatever his name is. And it's like, I go by Bill, by the way. It's not Jacory.
Dude, he's taking Twitter by storm. Everybody's talking about Bill.
Yeah. I think Brian Robinson's average. But yeah, I like the offense around him. I hope he's in that top 5 conversation, and I really do think he will get there. Like I said, I think the sky's the limit for him. I think he's got like Lamar Jackson potential.
Yeah, I kind of want to see where everyone's head's at. I think I would take a sip of it in general. There's definitely a world. Like, even if he just gets to divisional weekend, puts up crazy stats, the main thing with him is not getting hurt with his style of play. I do agree with Brandon in general about this offense. Like, year 2 with Cliff Kingsbury, I think they have potential to be dangerous, right? My thing, and I'll give you my record here in a sec, they beat up on a lot of bad QBs last year. And as I've said numerous times already, they've got a tough schedule. That division's going to be tough, just playing the Eagles, Cowboys. They always play the Giants tough, or the Giants always play them tough for whatever reason. So I actually got the Commanders at 10-7, just ahead of the Cowboys, but it's really going to be nip and tuck with them for me all year. Like, whichever one honestly starts out better, I think is going to end better too, honestly, because there's tough stretches in each of their schedules. And, just having to play in the NFC East, bad weather in December, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And Jaden Daniels is definitely built for it. We saw that already, but can he stay healthy? So I have big expectations possibly for Jaden as far as if he's healthy. But aside from that, I think this team has warts. I think they're going to be a fun team, but I definitely have my questions about this team. So 10-7 for the Washington Commanders.
Okay. I'll quickly bounce off of that. I got 9-8. I have them the same record as the Cowboys.
I almost did that too. I almost did that too. Almost did 9-8.
I actually had them at 10-7, and then I thought to myself, and then the last week of the season, I actually changed their win to a loss because I'm a guy who actually goes through every single week and tallies it off, and that's how I kind of go my record wise. But so I have them at 9-8. They're also just on the outskirts of the playoffs, I think. But realistically, there's a world where obviously they could make it because before I had them losing that last game, they were in. So like I had them literally towing the line between in and out, and I think it could come down right to the end of the season. And Kyle, when you said big expectations for Jaden Daniels, very random point, a song came to my head. Great Expectations by Diggy Simmons. Don't ask me why that song came to my head.
I don't know if I've ever even heard that song. I don't know if I could name you any Diggy Simmons
Expectations. I don't know. Yeah. So
we got Coyote Ugly and Diggy Simmons mentioned.
Those are 2 insane pulls for an NFC East podcast. Like, there's no reason for either one of them to be brought up.
Let's go. In context.
Can I bet combined both of those 2 references? I bet I haven't thought of Diggy Simmons or especially Coyote Ugly in a combined like 25 years probably. Like, I haven't heard of Coyote Ugly since I was a kid, and I don't think I've heard of Diggy Simmons since like my freshman year of college. So yeah,
since the 2010 BET cipher.
Yeah, something like that, honestly.
But all right, yeah. All right, Brandon or Timmy, you guys are good to go.
I have the Commanders making the playoffs. I have them at. I'm gonna go 12-5. We go 12-5. I was gonna go 11-6, but I really am. I'm super high on the Commanders. They're one of my favorite teams this year.
Manders up,
Yeah.
as KD would say.
Unfortunately,
JD, we trust.
Yeah, JD, not KD. Unfortunately, I'm not
Kevin
as high
Durant.
on the Commanders. I know. This year, I actually have them down at 8-9, missing the playoffs.
Shit.
The Commanders last year they won 7 games that were 1-score games. They had a lot of tight ones. They definitely had their blowouts, but a lot of tight games. And I believe 5 of those games were won on the last possession. So it really did come down to it. It could have swung the other way where they were an 8-9 team last year and missed the playoffs, and we didn't get to see that electric playoff run that they made. So I do think the NFC East gets a little bit better, a little bit more competitive this year than it was last year, and I think that's really mainly where it comes from. I still think they're going to be great, and if they do make the playoffs, I think I'd be taking a shot of your take saying that he is the top 5 QB because he'll be the reason why they do it for sure. So, but I got them 8-9. I have them as the 10 seed, missing the playoffs.
Okay. Interesting. I love it.
Wide ranging here.
As far as from 8-9 to 12-5, when everybody was within. I mean, everyone had the same record, but Timmy just had the Cowboys 1 game better. Like we all have the pretty much similar feelings on the Cowboys, and we'll see. We're now going over to East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Yeah,
for the first of 2 times in this division, because this time. Go on.
It's a blessing and a curse. I'm gonna give you a player prop here. Malik Neighbors wins the Triple Crown this year: receptions, yards, receiving touchdowns.
I'll answer that real quick.
Go on.
I got to go to the bathroom on that. I got to take a piss on that. Only because it's a question mark with his QBs and because of the receiving depth that we have with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. You can go on and on, obviously. Tyreek, if he comes back. Too much there. If he had, like, say, Joe Burrow as his QB or someone like that, you could definitely make a case because Malik Neighbors is as talented as anybody. So just because of their QB room mixed with their division, and mixed with, Neighbors being young. He's kind of hurt right now too, right? In preseason. It's kind of banged up.
He's got a
it was
toe
hamstring.
Injury, it was.
Yeah, it was his toe. He's got turf toe. Then he had a hamstring injury.
Turf toe?
Now he's got a back injury, but he was back at practice. So he should be good.
Yeah, so I'll have to go to the bathroom on that. But I mean, it could be in his near future. If they get the right QB. If Jackson Dart is that guy, who knows? Maybe we could talk about that next year or the year after. But year 2, got to go to the bathroom.
Timmy, you go. I want to hear your thoughts.
I'll at least take a sip of this. I would have taken a shot, and this could be crazy, if you said he is statistically the best wide receiver in the NFC East. I would have taken a shot of that. I think he's going to get mad targets. He had 175 targets last year. He's got better QB play this year. We could bump that up to closer to 200, and then he really is in this Triple Crown area. For me, it's the touchdowns. He could lead in receptions. He could lead in yards per reception and in receiving yards. But he could have 4 touchdowns, and that would not surprise me one bit. So that's why I'm taking a sip here. But yeah, I do think Malik is a dog. Another thing with him is I'm penciling him to miss 1 or 2 games. That's kind of what happened last year. He gets his ailments. They're not going to necessarily be a great football team, so there's no reason to push him. They're going to be hesitant with it. So I could see him missing 1 or 2 games, and that's enough to take him right out of the Triple Crown. But I'll take a sip. Definitely feeling it, but yeah.
Also, if we get Jameis involved, there's a chance like Neighbors could be in play for the Triple Crown, or there's a chance he gets killed by a moonball or something. So
by Jameis.
By Jameis, right? Yeah.
He's like he's just out there celebrating in his face or something.
Hey, let's
Pokes him in the eye.
Anything's on the table with Jameis Winston.
Yes. So I'm stepping outside real quick. I just got a phone call, so I need to step outside real quick. I don't need to leave the building. I don't need to leave the premises. I need to step outside because Timmy highlighted it perfectly. Receptions, for sure. Yards will be iffy. but it could happen. It's the touchdown. I don't see Chase just gets 10 to 12 a year. Like, he's going to have to be in the 15 touchdown range. I think that's a lot for him. I just think that's a lot. That's asking a lot out of old Russ Dart Winston.
Russ Dart Winston.
Winston
Three-headed monster.
Wilson Winston Dart. That's asking a lot out of them. I just don't think he can I don't think he can lead the league in touchdowns. But I do like the question. The more I think about it, the more I like it, just because I think it's interesting. Because receptions, I absolutely think he could lead. And then yards, dependent, just because he's going to get so much coverage thrown his way.
I'm gonna take a half sip. So like I'm not really gonna enjoy it. Like I'm gonna be able to digest it.
Guys, I'm drinking tonight. I promise.
Yeah, woo. I mean, he was 7th in yards last year with Tommy DeVito and Daniel Jones as quarterback. I think Russ is a huge upgrade compared to that. Even like Jameis or Jackson Dart would be huge. I could see receptions. I could see yardage if he came out and had 100. Because the thing is too, if he gets another 175 targets, the completion percentage is probably going to be a little bit better. Like the on-target rate's probably going to be a little bit higher. So I could see him having 120 receptions for 1,700 yards. And I mean, you never know. That some years that leads the NFL, some years it doesn't. With the touchdowns, I see him capping out at 10. Because that's more of a red zone byproduct, and I don't know if I really foresee this offense getting a lot of red zone opportunities. Yeah, I think 2 out of the 3 he could lead with. But yeah, touchdowns, I don't really see it.
Okay.
Tim, let me ask you, being a Giants fan, how do you feel about their offensive line?
I mean, it has been getting better. Like 2 years ago, it was pretty bad. 3 years ago, it was atrocious. But last year, it was like iffy. It used to be one of the worst in the leagues, and now it's probably like mid-20s. I could see a season where they get it up into like the low 20s, maybe even the teens, and that could be the difference here. Malik also just helps out with that. It doesn't look as bad when you can get the ball to him immediately and not take a sack. There weren't guys like that on the team prior to Malik being there in the wide receiver group. So I think the line will be a little bit better than last year. Still not great, though. It'll be towards the bottom of the league.
So real quick, I actually have the Giants at 6-11. As I've said, they have a tough schedule. But I do feel like if something happens with the Cowboys or Commanders, if they suffer any sort of serious injury, I just have this weird feeling the Giants could be okay. Like, I think people, like Brandon said, I think people are kind of writing off Russell Wilson. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's Seahawks Russell Wilson by any means, but he's a lot better than Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito, right? You can at least throw a deep ball. Same with Jameis. Like, Jameis is professional, right? Like, he's going to throw some bad balls, sure, but he's also going to throw you a lot of great balls. He's going to have some explosive plays.
Hey, yo.
Right, yeah. Jackson Dart, I'm not sure. I can't speak on Jackson Dart. But Jameis and Russ, that could, in theory, win you games. And on top of that, this defense is going to be a real defense. So if they can kind of keep the offense, they can run the ball. They can run the ball and create points. Defense can win you games. So the Giants could, sneak up to 8 wins, hypothetically. I just think that schedule's tough. So we'll see.
All right, who next?
I'll go with 6-11, but I'm going to go with a very competitive 6-11. Because I do think that I don't think they're going to be bad. I think it's going to be, because I was actually looking at their schedule earlier today, and I want to say there was 4 or 5 one-score games last year that I think they lost all of them. Couple of divisional, and then I don't remember who else it was, but they were scattered out throughout the year. I mean, if they win 2 of those, I mean, that's 6 wins right there. Like I just, and I think too, the offense as a whole is going to be way better than what it was last year. And then, like Kyle said, the defense, like I think they could possibly have one of the best, if not the best, front sevens in football. Like with Abdul Carter, and all those guys. Like I think they'll be very competitive throughout the year. I really don't see them getting blown out a whole lot. Just kind of depends on Russ.
Mm-hmm.
I got them at 5-12. Cool. I think I might be the bottom here. I agree with what Brandon just said. I think they'll be in almost every single game. And I think that they will beat teams that people don't expect them to beat. But they just don't have that consistency on offense that we're looking for right now to make them a good team. This team reminds me, like roster-wise, of the Steelers last year. You got Russell Wilson at the helm, and then like 1.5 pieces of offensive talent, and then a good defense. I'm not saying Daboll's the same coach that Tomlin is. That's why I got him at 5-12. But it does remind me of the Steelers from last year. So I could see a world where they do get up to like 8 wins, like maybe 9 would be the peak, and that would be like surprising a lot of people. So 5-12, bottom of the division. I think Daboll probably gets fired. I hope they don't have to play Jackson Dart. Like, I hope Russ is good enough, but I think he'll be in there sooner rather than later. So,
yeah. Quick question, Keenan, before you go. Let's say this team ends at 7-10 and is exactly what we're describing. Very competitive. What does that do for Daboll's job? Which quarterback do you think is at the helm if they're at 7-10? Like, what do you think that would look like for the Giants moving forward?
I think it's Russ. I'd have to assume Russ is the quarterback.
Yeah, I think if you're saying Russ plays the whole season, I think I'm leaning towards that 7-10. Whereas if Jackson Dart is in there, that's when you're getting into like the 5 wins, 4 wins. And then maybe he has some impressive games and they do get up to like 7 or 8. But I think consistent wise, it's going to be Russ at a 7-win season. So, and I think it would kind of, if every game was close, I think they would be intrigued to keep Daboll and say, let's build off of this and see what Jackson Dart looks like next year. And then if next year, 5 weeks in, we're a 1-win team, you're gone. But yeah.
I agree. I think it would be Russ at the helm. And if you do get to 7 wins, I would keep Daboll because that means you can still, you've got a top 15 pick in the draft, which means you can add a true impact player offensively in the draft, whilst having Jackson Dart learning behind Jameis and Russ. Obviously, Jameis is not like the veteran that Russ is, but 2 guys that would be good to learn behind. Plus, you're already a whole year in a system. You get a couple people there. You're around the whole organization there. So I'm actually with Timmy exactly. I had them at 5-12. I think they're going to be a tough 5-12. There are so many times going through these games, I'm like, maybe I could do, maybe, but I ended up going with no. And to Brandon's point, lost to the Commanders by 3, Dallas by 5, the Cincy by 10, but it was 17-7. And they lost to Pittsburgh by 8, Washington by 5, Carolina by 3 in overtime, Dallas by 7, and New Orleans by 3. So like that's a lot of 1-score games that you even cut those in half. All of those losses, that's about an 8-win team. And like so that's like I think their ceiling's 9-8. I think their floor is probably 4-13. I have them closer to the floor at 5-12. But again, you could talk me into 7 wins, and I wouldn't be shocked.
I just want to say before we get to the Eagles. Oh, go ahead, Tim. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm just putting a stamp on this right now. Week 3, they play the Chiefs. They will beat the Chiefs.
Okay. Is that in Arrowhead or is that at home?
I believe it's in Arrowhead.
Oh, that's a statement right there.
So here's the thing, Timmy.
Game from this defensive line.
It's actually 2 things. 1, it's at home.
Oh,
so it's actually in New York.
Better.
And 2,
even worse.
I almost had
Nobody
that.
likes playing at MetLife.
I promise you, I almost had that in my upset. But I actually think the Chiefs have a good chance of losing weeks 1 and 2, and they're going to come out with that. They need that game. So that's why I don't have it. But if for some reason they win weeks 1 and 2, that's an easy trap game that I just think they could go into and Abdul Carter could go crazy, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and they could just get after Mahomes, and they could just make it one of those ugly 20-17 sucky field losses.
One of the things
I see it
about this team is like everybody's talking about the D line. That was kind of their strong point last year, right? Just take away Abdul Carter, and that is the D line that they had last year. They've added 2 pieces to this with Dalvin Tomlinson and Abdul Carter, obviously, and that's going to be great for them. But they added quite a few pieces into the secondary from free agency. We get Javon Holland in the safety position there, and then we also got Paulson Adebo from the Saints. So I could see a world where the secondary is actually very, very solid, and then this D-line is just getting after QBs, and that's what's keeping them in every single game here.
And if your defensive line is going to be that good, where like if Abdul Carter's really a difference maker and like kind of the Micah Parsons 2.0 in the league, and all you need to do is cover for 2.5 seconds. And so like it'll make it much easier. It's like that line can make that cornerbacking crew go from pretty solid to actually like good. So that could add to it.
That's one thing. Like low key, Tim mentioned it. Like MetLife's kind of a tough place to play. Like it's not a offensive friendly field, and we can't really factor this in. But it's where ACLs and Achilles injuries, like they just go to die. Like I can't imagine what the stats are for how many Achilles and ACL injuries are over the past like 5 years, but they're there. Jets, Giants, it doesn't matter. That's a shitty field to play on. But I was going to say, this won't give away too much, but I nearly had Commanders and Cowboys 9-8, Giants 7-10, and like Eagles at 10-7. I really would not be surprised if it ends up something like that. I think this is going to be, I think they're going to beat up on each other. I think it's going to be crazy competitive. And yeah, there really is a world where the Giants were like, what the fuck are they doing in the playoffs or competing for the playoffs? So,
yep. All right. And we'll go on. Speaking of the Eagles, we will go on to the Eagles. And my Eagles question is a player-based question as well. And it is Jalen Hurts will end top 3 in MVP.
I'm going to go take a shit in the urinal on that one. I think MVP for Jalen Hurts. He had his time a couple years ago, but I just don't see statistically a season where that happens for him. So I think if you said top 5, I think I could have been there. But I actually am not as high on the Eagles this year as I think a lot of people are going to be. So that's going to be my take later on when we talk about the record. But there you go.
Yo, where's Tim at? You don't even want to know, bro. I just walked in.
Yeah, you don't go in there. Bro. We lost.
That's some Lil Wayne shit right there. Taking a shit.
Someone told him about Jalen Hurts. He's like, hold that thought right there. I got to go to the bathroom.
I got to get to the potty. I exit the potty to the potty.
I did not even make it to the stall. I just went straight to the urinal. Oh shit.
Hey, sir, guy, my bad.
I didn't even hear. I didn't even hear Tim's reasons. I was just picturing someone being like, I can't even make it. I got to go right in the urinal. So,
my bad, boys. I'm sorry. Just let me be.
So he's gonna take a shit in the urinal.
Let me be. He also said outside in the urinal. So why is there a urinal outside?
What the?
I'm sure somewhere in America.
And then the porta urinal.
Somewhere in America, they definitely got outdoor urinals.
Oh yeah, and it's there for a reason.
That's even worse than an indoor.
And I would actually take a bet that it's like Texas or Florida.
Listen, I've never seen an outdoor urinal in Florida.
I never saw it when I lived
it's
there
somewhere.
either.
It's somewhere in Florida.
You're not looking
probably
hard
somewhere in the
Brandon.
boonies.
Yeah,
it's probably in
probably somewhere in
USA.
Exactly.
Somewhere in the boonies.
Exactly. Go to Gator County.
All right, Brandon or Kyle.
Brandon, go ahead.
Damn, what was okay? Jalen Hurts
and top 3 MVP.
Jesus, it just threw everything off. I'm gonna take a
shit.
I'm gonna take a small sip to that. I'm not shitting in urinals like Timmy over here. I'm gonna take a small sip to that. The reason being, I have this weird vision in my head that teams are gonna load the box up this year or try to allocate every asset that they have to stopping the run, and they're going to make Jalen Hurts pass the ball a lot more. I see double-digit rushing touchdowns, and I could see him cracking over 4,000 passing yards. Like I think there's a world where that could happen. And like he's got the skill position obviously around him, like it's about as good as it gets. Like I could really see that. Like if the teams that they put 7-8 guys in the box, like I mean you got to make them pay down the field. Like why not? So yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
I'll take a tiny sip just by like letter of the law. Like they're gonna be a good team. If you think the Eagles are like a 13-win team, then yeah, in theory, Hurts should be there, right? In theory, he should be better than last year. Saquon was their best offensive player last year, right? So in theory, I'm taking a sip. In general, Jalen Hurts confuses the hell out of me. People can kind of make the Tom Brady early Patriots comparison with, the fact that he's got a loaded defense, weapons around him, and people would tell you that maybe Tom Brady didn't have to do a lot, when in reality Tom Brady was making throws when they needed him. At least I don't think Hurts does a ton of that. I think he does. I think he does.
I mean, Super Bowl wise, sure. I think he's played super great in the Super Bowls,
and that's exactly why he's confusing to me. You could make the argument he's outplayed Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls, right? But I'm also not sure if I'd want him down 10. NFC Championship game, 4th quarter. I don't know. I still have reasonable questions.
I would.
And you're not wrong. But I'm saying I go back and forth with Jalen Hurts probably more than any quarterback in the league, where I can't really pin down what my own opinion is on him. He's not a scrub. I don't think he's overrated by any means. But I also don't know if he's, like I said last year, I remember vividly, I think it was Keenan's last QB tiers. I don't know where he had Justin Herbert, but I remember me and Tim were like, man, I love Justin Herbert in this Eagles offense more than Jalen Hurts. Like, I think that would take them over the top. And and granted, you could say this about any QB ever, damn near, but obviously if you put Hurts in the Chargers offense, it wouldn't look the same. But I don't know. I don't know how many offenses Hurts would succeed in the way he does, especially with this defense. They don't ask him to do a lot when things are going well for them. That's the thing. It's not on Jalen Hurts' shoulders. Now, he could take a leap. He could absolutely take a leap, and then this is a moot point. But I just don't know Jalen Hurts year to year.
So that's fair, and I understand. I think that if you put him in the Chargers offense, I think that they would be the exact same, if not a little better. Be quite honest.
You can make an argument. You can make an argument.
Just because of the way now Harbaugh is like, we're going to make safe, smart throws. We're going to utilize the rush. They kind of mini Eagles. They just obviously don't have the personality. In a way, obviously it's not the same. Obviously the Eagles are just such a mauling team, and the Chargers have like a lot of good offensive linemen in a way, but like that's just kind of the style. So I actually think that specific offense that you mentioned, the Chargers, I actually think that he could flourish in
real quick. And this is going to sound like I'm moving goalposts. Yes, down 10, like Hurts can get you back in that game. But I would say, okay, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and of course those are the top 4. Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, all them. Down 17, you're safe with them. That's where I don't know with Hurts. Yeah. And that's where Hurts gets talked about. That's where you're going to hear Hurts getting talked about this year. That's kind of my thing. Hurts is obviously a winner. We know that. Like he's a leader. He's a winner. But I do find myself just going back and forth with like what my opinion is on him. Because I think from year 1 to year 2, he improved a lot. And then from year 2 to year 3, I was kind of like, what's going on here? It can look ugly.
Up. And then he went like this and kind of dipped and then went up again. So like that's kind of, so I get what you're saying. He's kind of been a little bit of like a roller coaster-ish in a sense, but I think you're right. It's like down 17. Do you feel comfortable for him bringing you back? I don't know if I feel more comfortable about many people outside of the top 4, unless it might be Matt Stafford in like a playoff game, because like, he just get hot.
Baker.
Like these guys can kind of, and like, with Hurts, you don't really know because they were leading in almost every game. Like they just were, like for his career, a lot of the time they're just up or they're really close. So you don't really get to see it with him. For this, I'm taking a sip for sure because I'm in the boat of Josh Allen last year threw for 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 6 picks and won an MVP. And like, not that like Jalen Hurts is as good as Josh Allen. He's not. Like, I don't think they're on the same tier. We'll get to that. I mean, I don't think I'm really spilling like, oh my God, it's crazy, Keenan. You're giving up so much of your tears. But I just like 28-6 is just, he's already got 22-6 in his career. Last year he had 18-5, 3,700 yards. He's already gotten that in a season. I think he could give you 3,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, 7 picks with 10 rushing touchdowns. And I think, and if you're a 13-4 team, like roughly around there, or if maybe even they're 14-3 and like they just like are really rolling, I think he could get to that top 3. So I have a sip. I mean, we'll know who I have for my MVP here in about a week and a half. I already have mine locked in, and I'm happy about mine. But yeah. So, and I'm just going to go into where I'm right here. The Eagles, I have them at 12-5. I had them 11-6, and the Commanders 10-7. But the Commanders play the Eagles, I think, the last week of the season, and I actually switched that from a win to a loss for them. So, like, that kind of altered it. So I think they could be around that 11-6. I think it'll be tough sledding this year, and you've got an off season to figure a team out. So like that's the big thing is like obviously when they're going to win the Super Bowl, celebrating and everything, you got all these coaches. Okay, that's what we got to focus on because that's the top of the mountain right now. We got to go kind of gun at that. So you're going to find some schemes and things that worked against them. They'll go through. So I got them 12-5 because they're super talented. But at the same time, I don't think that they're going to just run off a 15-2 season again. I think last year you had the schedule plus their talent working, or 14-3. You had their schedule plus their talent work for them a little bit last year. And I think this year, with how tough of a schedule they are, they're going to take a little bit of a dip. But not too far, because obviously they only are going to lose 2 more games in my head.
I got them going 13-4, winning the division. I agree with your point, Keenan, on teams figuring out Philly, especially with the Super Bowl, like because you got all 31 teams are watching it, all the other 31. But to the point I made earlier, I really do think that this season that maybe they tweak the offense a little bit, and when I say tweak, more so, I think they're going to pass it a little bit more because I think they're going to have to. I don't know if I trust Saquon to play 16 games again. We know what his injury history is like. And 2, like I said, I think teams are really going to load the box. Like I think they're going to face a lot of man pressure blitzes, just to stop Saquon because like that was their bread and butter last year. And then I'm thinking, hey, if you put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hand, I think he's good enough to make all the throws. I think he's a really good quarterback, and I think that A.J. Brown's one of the best receivers in the league, and I think that Devontae Smith is one of the most underrated receivers. I think he could actually be a number 1 on a lot of teams.
He could be. I mean, if you're right in what you're kind of solidifying, a lot of the time you're going to have shots, and he's the kind of burner down the field. He could have like a really nice fantasy year if that's kind of the mindset of you. Like, 80 catches, 1,300 yards, and 9 touchdowns is on the board for him. Kind of.
Yeah, like I said, I think Hurts gets close to 4,000 yards this year, going from 29 to 4,000. And I think that means Saquon goes from probably 2,000 to 1,400-ish or whatever. Yep. And I think the defense is going to be good. All those guys are getting, they're going to be a year older, the second year in the league, and they should hypothetically get better teams. So,
okay, I got them at 11-6, winning the division. A lot of the points you guys have made are exactly what I'm thinking. Is I think they're going to try to limit Saquon. I think Saquon doesn't play the full season. Injury history is real here. If you look at New York, only 2 seasons did he ever play the full season. So I think that'll happen. And A.J. Brown has been dealing with a hamstring injury this entire offseason, and we still haven't really seen him participate as a wide receiver in practice. So that kind of scares me. And then the defense. We see rookies have sophomore slumps all the time on defense, and a good chunk of this defense was rookies that were shining in positions. So I think they're dialing it back, coming down from, what were they, 13 wins or 14 wins last year?
I think they were 14-3.
I think so. So I got them.
I think they were, or maybe they were 13-4 because they lost the last week of the season.
Seems like 13. I think the other year they went to the Super Bowl, they had 14 wins.
14-3.
Yeah, it was.
14-3.
Good memory.
So I got them at 11-6. I think they'll still be a great team. They'll still run the ball good. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had them at 12, or excuse me, I had them at 11-6, bumped them up to 12-5, strictly because of their talent. Honestly, man, like 99% of fans hate Nick Sirianni. I'm actually a Nick Sirianni fan. Like, I actually think he's like a really fundamentally sound coach when it comes to just like clock management, which some Eagles would like kill me if I said that, because he does have some boneheaded clock management moments. But as far as like running the ball, eating up the clock, like I think he's like one of the best I've seen as far as down in clock management when it comes to that. Not saying he's perfect. He has his hiccups, but one of the best.
He sticks to what he does and sticks to who he is.
Exactly.
And that's like, and that's all you can really ask for in a coach is just be who you are and what you are supposed and what you're built to be.
Exactly. And this defense is going to be ridiculous. Defense was super tough. One thing I do want to say, Eagles have a new OC, which we saw what that looked like, I think 2 years ago when they switched over OC, or they lost their OC and their DC. So, I mean, that could be growing pains. Saquon might look a little different. I'm with Tim and Brandon. Good chance he misses like 3 or 4 games, right, with his injury history. So, that being said, the talent's too much, right? They should eke out 12 wins. But like I was saying earlier, there's a world where it's 9 or 10 wins and they're fighting for their life. Like Tim said earlier, the NFC East stat, that's a real thing. No one's repeated in like 2 decades. So the writing's on the wall, but this Eagles team is talented enough to buck that trend. But I won't be in the least bit surprised if we look up in December, January, and it's the Cowboys or Commanders at the top. So, yeah, but Eagles have that the link is a tough place to play in November, December, January too, going for them. So I can't imagine them actually falling below. I mean, I just said I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean, a lot would have to go right for the Giants in particular for the Eagles to end up with 9 wins. So looking forward to the NFC East though.
All right. And that was the NFC East. Obviously, if you watch the AFC West and the NFC West, we got a little bit deeper dive in the NFC East. I think there's a little bit more to talk about here. We all have the Eagles winning the division anywhere from 11-6 to 13-4. Kyle and I are pretty much in lockstep when it comes to the Giants and the Cowboys. Really, all of us are in lockstep with the Giants and the Cowboys. Timmy has the Cowboys sneaking into the playoffs. And then with the Commanders, Brandon has them in the playoffs firmly, and Kyle has them right on that edge, depending like on tiebreakers and things if they're going to get in or not. So, but pretty much, other than the Commanders being a little more spiked for Brandon, we're pretty much across the board the same, and like the Eagles are kind of in the same boat. We just think they're going to be a wins a couple thing. But Warner Brothas Podcast, Kyle, Brandon, Timmy, and myself. Warner Brothas Podcast, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all over. Those find us at Warner Brothas Podcast. We appreciate everybody here. Be on the lookout for the AFC East coming soon. And if you haven't seen the NFC West and the AFC West, go back and check that out. Warner Brothas Podcast. We'll be back with you guys soon.